Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are tackling a seriously high-stakes challenge. Think about it. How can institutions generate vital funding without alienating the very communities they were built to serve in the first place? It is a massive tightrope walk for leaders globally. But today, we're unpacking a really fascinating solution being applied right now in sub-Saharan Africa.
Here is our quick agenda for today. We'll be covering the institutional funding trap, paradigms of human interaction, the win-win paradigm, building win-win agreements, the win-win canvas, and finally, designing a TVET prototype. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The Institutional Funding Trap.
Okay, so across Kenya, technical and vocational education and training centers, or TVETs, are under immense pressure right now. They are increasingly expected to self-fund through what are called income-generating activities, or IGAs. Now, put yourself in their shoes for a second. If you're a TVET principal, how do you balance generating that vital income with actually serving your community? It forces a really tough reflection. You have to ask yourself, are you treating your community as a true partner or just a piggy bank to solve a budget shortfall?
The contrast between the two approaches is literally day and night. A win-lose IGA might extract quick cash, say, by drastically overpricing services to the local community. But guess what? It absolutely destroys trust. Everyone loses in the long run. A genuine win-win model, on the other hand, focuses on designing mutually beneficial income streams that actually sustain the institution while genuinely enriching the public. It's a complete game changer.
Moving on to Section 2, Paradigms of Human Interaction.
To avoid that destructive extraction trap we just talked about, we have to look at the psychology of how human beings actually interact when resources are on the line. For this, we turn to Stephen Covey's foundational work, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This book provides the exact leadership mindset you need to navigate massive organizational change.
You see, we all operate on different psychological scripts. Win-lose is purely authoritarian. If I win, you lose. Then there's lose-win, which is basically capitulation, and that just breeds deep hidden resentment. Lose-lose is simply vindictive mutual destruction. No one wants that. And just win means you're ignoring others entirely. But in an interdependent reality, where your institution's survival relies directly on community cooperation, win-win is genuinely the only viable alternative.
But wait, what happens if a mutual win is just impossible? Well, that's where the ultimate standard comes in. Win, win, or no deal. If an income-generating project exploits the community, or conversely, if it drains the school's resources, it is way better to just step away with no hard feelings than to force a totally flawed system.
Which brings us to Section 3, the win-win paradigm.
Covey emphasizes that our default programming, from school grading curves all the way to sports, tells us life is a zero-sum game. The idea is, to win, someone else must lose. But true effectiveness requires us to totally reject that fundamentally flawed thinking. Win-win sees life as a cooperative, not a competitive arena.
The absolutely crucial key here is developing what Covey calls an abundance mentality. This is the profound belief that there is plenty out there for everybody. It's the character trait required to share recognition, power, and profit. Without it, leaders operate from a scarcity mentality. They hoard resources and instantly default back to those toxic win-lose dynamics we want to avoid. Next up, Section 4, Building Win-Win Agreements.
A true win-win approach is comprehensive, embracing 5 interdependent dimensions. It all begins with character and relationships, and out of those flow agreements. But here is the catch, and it's a big one. Those agreements absolutely must be supported by your systems and processes. Think about it. If you talk win-win, but your systems only reward win-lose behavior, your initiative is going to fail before it even starts.
When drafting these agreements, you have to clearly define 5 core elements: results, guidelines, resources, accountability, and consequences. Doing this properly is basically magical. It powerfully shifts the dynamic from hovering, micromanaging supervision to empowering self-supervision where everyone just evaluates themselves against the agreed criteria. It's so much more effective.
Let's move to Section 5, the win-win canvas. Now, let's bridge this theory to actual practice with a tool called the win-win canvas. This is a highly practical design tool where you explicitly list out the exact requirements for both the institution and the stakeholder to succeed. For example, a Kenyan TVET might need financial sustainability and student practical experience to win. The community, on the other hand, needs affordable, high-quality services to win. If both columns aren't checked off, the project simply doesn't launch. But how do you actually know what the stakeholders need? You never guess. Never. To fill out this canvas accurately, leaders are trained to conduct structured empathy interviews. This is putting Covey's habit of seek first to understand right into practice. They map out what students, staff, and local employers say, think, do, and feel to gather genuine, unfiltered data before designing any income stream.
Finally, Section 6, Designing a TVET Prototype.
Let's see this whole concept in action. A perfect prototype generated from this canvas is a TVET offering an after-hours welding repair service. Think about marginalized areas, like parts of northern Kenya, where access to affordable repair work is incredibly scarce. The school already has the workshops and tools, right? They're just sitting idle at night. By offering this service, students gain vital practical experience. The institution generates sustainable income, and the local community gets essential, affordable repairs. It completely fulfills the win-win criteria for everyone involved.
And to keep that initiative alive long-term, you apply Covey's Habit 7, sharpen the saw. By pressure testing these prototypes through peer feedback and basic costing, institutions build robust 90-day action plans. They map the activity against physical, social, mental, and purpose dimensions, ensuring the initiative doesn't just launch, but actually thrives and adapts over time.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a challenge. Look at your own relationships, whether in business, education, or even at home. Stop settling for compromises that leave everyone slightly unhappy. Ask yourself right now, how can you use a win-win canvas to step entirely out of the zero-sum game and discover a higher, mutually beneficial third alternative?